And we are back. Welcome back to Game Changers.
Where's Goldie? Where's my man? My buddy, where's he at?
Goldie left you.
He's up in the...
He had too much fun at the Super Bowl. He must have been in Vegas, and now we don't know where he's at.
I think he's in the milk carton somewhere. Look, knowing him, he's in the Steel City. He loves the Steel City.
Loves Pittsburgh.
Loves Pitt.
Big
Absolutely.
Pittsburgh guy. Is that right? Oh, look, there he is.
He went swimming in the Monongahela this morning, actually, up in Pittsburgh.
What a guess. You're amazing, Beaucamp. Hang on.
It's as if you knew.
What are the winning lottery numbers?
Oh, man. This show would look a lot different if one of us three hit the lotto.
Yeah.
Speaking of
it'd be empty.
Yes. Speaking of hitting the lotto, that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs have done. Now back-to-back Super Bowl champs. They're about to try to embark on a three-peat. No one's ever done that before.
Can I bet on them right now?
You can. You can do whatever you want. State of Florida, it's legal now.
There you go.
Credit to both of you guys. You both had the Chiefs. In a rare instance, I'm wrong. Yeah. So I can admit defeat in that. But, guys, I want to talk about the Super Bowl, kind of push the storylines forward. It was a big week out in Vegas, big week for CBS, big week for everybody. But I'll start with you. Who was the biggest winner of Super Bowl week this year?
The networks, 125 million plus watched that game. The most watched. I think it's the most watched event on TV ever. And so, but where do they go? You know, we were talking about it a little earlier. I said, you know, the Super Bowl has gotten so big. I don't know what you do next year to make it bigger, but they'll figure out a way to do it. So, I think the NFL. And I think the television networks are the big winners in this. Yeah. Although the Kansas City Chiefs, look, I joke about betting on them right now, but as I look at this team right now and where they're, look, free agents going to, Chris Jones may go in that, maybe, but how are you going to bet against Pat Mahomes until he loses something that's meaningful?
Right, until Joe Burrow is back, because apparently he's the only quarterback who can go toe-to-toe with him and handle him. But I agree with you. By the way, how big do they get next year? Well, they go to the Big Easy next year. They go to New Orleans, we'll see. And that's, of course, always a party right around Mardi Gras time. So that is going to be a lot of fun as well. Goldie, who's your big winner?
Well, look, Mahomes has to be the big winner, but Travis Kelce is right there. I mean, who's got it better right now than Travis Kelce? Yeah. I mean, he is absolutely rolling. He's got Taylor Swift. I think he's the best tight end in NFL history, and you look what he's done in his 18 postseason games he's played. He averages over 100 yards. He averages a touchdown a game, and he averages over 10 catches a game. Yeah. So I look at Kelce. This guy's just on top of the world. And I thought the stuff with Taylor Swift was amazing. Yeah. She was a big winner out of this also. Yeah. Because people were wondering, you know, does she really love him? Yeah, she loves him a lot.
Let me tell you what, you look at her, they both just seem like the families and everything. It's just the perfect storm.
It's wholesome, it's happy.
And you bring that whole Taylor Swift world into football. I saw a story about where a dad is, had to talk to his girl. The only reason these girls would watch the game was to see Taylor. And then after the game was over, one of his daughters says, "Hey, I like that team in the red. Can we watch them play next year?"
There you go. That's
so it's just you're bringing in a whole new audience for a game. So there may be 250 million watching next year.
Next year, it's only
get every one of those players to go out and get them a big entertainer and get married or whatever you want to do with them.
It can only get bigger from here. And Goldie, I'm going to go with you on the Kelce, but I'm going Jason Kelce, because all we heard this whole week was he's getting interviews with different networks. He's out there partying with the Chiefs. I mean, there's more videos of Jason partying with the Chiefs than the Chiefs themselves partying. I think this guy's stock continues to rise.
What about what about Mama Kelce? Mama Kelce got her a little run too now.
I think Mom's probably happy to take a little bit of a back seat after last year. But, I mean, look, he could still end up playing another year, and the more I think he's in the spotlight, whether it's because of his brother or not, I mean, he's a great player in his own right. He continues to be the bell of the ball everywhere he goes.
I would pump the brakes on the greatest tight end of all time.
Well, that's
who do you think's better?
Mike Ditka.
Who's better, Gronk?
How about Russ Francis? How about Kellen Winslow? How about Dave Casper? How about that whole group? And going on through, how about the two brothers in Denver? Shannon and the Sharp brothers. How about those two guys?
They
were playing when people actually guarded the tight ends, not just gave them a run around. They're running against air.
But you know this. For a guy his size, he is huge.
Yeah.
To have that kind of body control and run those routes.
His
now,
route running is
you
incredible.
want to throw a little Mike. You want to throw a little Mike Ditka in there from way back in the day, who was tough as nails. Yeah, those other guys were great, and Gronk was great, and I just think what this guy has done in big games,
I don't want to get
his playoff numbers are off the charts.
That's like it too in the weeds.
I don't want to get too
with
technical about it, but if those guys were playing against the defenses now where they never put hands on the tight ends, it would have been a little different story back then. So that's all I'm saying. We can move on now.
All right,
I don't want to get us in the mud.
We have less than 2 minutes in this block, so I wanted to ask this one more follow-up on the Super Bowl. Goldie, I'll start with you. Biggest loser of the week?
Ooh.
Yeah, I knew you were going here, okay? And you want to sucker me in, and you want me to say Kyle Shanahan because he made the one mistake by taking the football. But I'm not going to do it, okay? Because Kyle Shanahan lost Mike McDaniel, lost Matt LaFleur, lost Robert Sal on his staff, lost DeMeco Ryans this year. This guy's been to 2 Super Bowls. I know he's lost double-digit leads. He's also taken 2 different quarterbacks that nobody wanted, got him to the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to go there. But Kyle Shanahan made a pretty bad mistake to start overtime by not playing defense. That's what I was
not leading you to Shanahan at all. I'm actually a Shanahan fan. I will actually disagree with you and thought, you know what? I didn't mind his strategy in overtime, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Well, in this game, I would say Shanahan.
Okay, there you go.
I would. Only because, look, not that he did anything wrong, but and part of the reason I'm saying that is because I saw a picture of him sitting on the ground by himself, and this guy was in a state of despair.
Yeah.
And so you don't get any more loser than that. I mean, I'm not calling him a loser, but in his feeling, in his mind, what he's thinking, if I'm the biggest loser in the world right now.
Yeah, it's tough.
So that's going to hang with him for a while. Like I said before, and I've told you this before, I would rather have not gone to the Super Bowl than go to the Super Bowl and lose the game. It hurts that much.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, Bo,
you're
you're the one that could speak to it because you've been to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But
Twice.
I know Shanahan, as a head coach, had 2 double-digit leads. As an offensive coordinator, had a 25-point lead with Atlanta against New England. Lost all the games, but he lost to Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And who did he have at quarterback? No disparaging Matt Ryan, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy.
Careful.
But he lost to great quarterbacks, and he's got to wonder a little bit now, to your point, Bo, what do I need to do to win this trophy? Because I've come that close and I haven't gotten it done.
You take Brock Purdy's name out of your mouth. All of the biggest losers of the Super Bowl were all his doubters, if you ask me.
I agree. That's
all his doubters. Were the
He played great.
Good call by you. It's about time.
Thank you. My guy, he did nothing wrong. He did everything he could to win that game. Special teams lets him down. Some decisions in overtime let him down.
Now what do they do with Brock Purdy from a standpoint?
Give him $1 billion contract. That's my guy. All right, still to come on Game Changers. We're going to dip into some hockey, of course. And do we have a 90s style rivalry in the NBA brewing? We'll talk about that next.
Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit.
Steve Goldstein.
I was at that show. You were at the show, Steve?
I'm an angel, Goldie. Come on, man.
I don't know how you guys, I can't put anything on social media with you, Cunio, because between you and George, our producer, you guys did. And by the way, did you know there's no such place as South Detroit? Did you know that?
Really?
South Detroit does not exist.
Detroit.
Technically.
There is not.
A southern
It's
area.
Windsor. It's Canada.
A southern area. That's true.
So I went to the show too, and I actually walked. I was leaving after the band Toto. I thought they were the band because I really didn't know what Journey sang, and I thought that the concert was over. I go, that was a pretty short concert.
Dude, I thought you went to a Toto concert. I was like, really, Toto? Then that packed.
No, Toto was the opening act. Very good.
They were awesome too.
They were great.
They've got a few famous songs.
Yeah.
But then Journey, so I gave you the whole rundown there.
Let me ask you a question, Goldie. Let me ask you the big question. Did you pay for that ticket?
Come on, Bo. You know, we don't have a lot of time on this Game Changer show.
Okay,
why do you waste any with silly questions?
It just popped in my mind. That's all.
All right, Goldie.
I would have if I had to. I would have.
Goldie, I do have a hockey question for you, though. Sam Reinhart, he continues to this incredible tear he's on, having the best season of his career. Final year of his contract. Goldie, what's going to happen with Sam? Is he? Are we looking at a potential superstar that might get away from the Panthers, or do you think he ends up re-signing with the Cats?
Yeah, we'll have to give the contract break talk with Tua and Christian Wilkins a little bit now, a break, and get to the Panthers because they've got him, they've got Gustav Forsling, they've got Brandon Montour, all key players. Now, the main thing is this. Sam Reinhart was in Buffalo for 6 years. You know, and remember, he was the second pick in the draft.
Yeah.
He was on a bad team. He was just getting going in his career. He was scoring 20, 25 goals a year, but it wasn't until he came here to South Florida 3 years ago that he got to play with guys like Barkov and Kachuk and all these stars on this team, and now it's really all clicked for him. He knows what it's like to never play in the playoffs and be on a team that's out of it by Christmas time. I think Sam Reinhart, with the tax break in Florida, ends up working out a contract, even though he could get more from other teams, to stay here in South Florida because he's about winning, and he knows he signs that max term deal. He's going to be playing with Matthew Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov for the rest of his career. Yeah. No state tax on a team that has a big window now. Yeah. This team's going to be really good for a pretty long time.
Yeah, he knows the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Right. He's seen it. But I did want to ask you about that because this is going to come up, and we're heading into a part of the season where, as you mentioned, we were talking about they've got, like, what, one game left outside the Eastern time zone, like the second half of the season setting up well for them. They're going to have a nice run in the playoffs, it looks like. And I just think keeping the band together is something that fans are going to want to know about.
So I'm not as up on the salary cap or the Panthers and how they deal with their salary. But Goldie, how much do you think the Panthers will extend that to him and really try to keep him in town and keep this team together as long as they can?
Well, it's an interesting question, Bo, because Gustav Forsling, by some of the underlying metrics, is like a top 2 or 3 defenseman in the league. I mean, he is amazing. And you know the defense wins championships. It's no knock on anybody, that's a winger like Reinhart, but it's easier to find wingers than it is to find legit top 4 defensemen. Yeah. That said, I think they go out 7-8 years with Reinhart, try to spread that money around. In his late 20s, you can basically finish your career here, try to do the same with Forsling and Montour, and keeping in mind that next year, Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Bennett's contracts are up. Yeah. So is everybody going to take a little bit less money to keep the band together, as you say? Do they have the confidence they could go out and – remember, all those guys we mentioned? Yeah. Bill Zito found them all, either in free agency, waivers, trades for draft picks that no one made a big deal about at the time. So they're probably pretty confident that even if they lose a player or two, they can go out and replace them. But no doubt they're going to try to keep as many guys together as they can.
Goldie, how did this team change in the regular season from being you had to fight your way in, get the last spot in last year in the playoffs, and now they look like they just continued to play at that same level. The drop-off between last year and this year doesn't seem to be very much.
Well, they play a playoff style now all season. So it took them half a season to get that, to say, hey, this is how hard you have to play. Remember the year before? They were winning games 7-6 with these wild comebacks. Yeah. And we know that doesn't work in the playoffs. No different than football. Eventually, you're going to need to stop defensively. You got to make some plays. So what they've done is, and by the way, it's not a very easy thing to play that way. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not a lot of fun to kind of just grind it out. You want to score some goals, but they know that goal at the end is to win that Stanley Cup, and this is the way they've done it. And they're a team that teams night in, night out, they hate playing against the Panthers. They're mean, they're tough, they're nasty, they'll punch you in the mouth, they'll score goals, and they've just been able to continue it on a very consistent basis in the regular season.
And you got a guy in Cousins that I think will become a fan favorite as the playoffs roll on because he can be so annoying, and I think fans just love that. You see more number 7 jerseys for Radko Gudas around the arena, and the guy's not even here still.
So you're there for the Pittsburgh game. They're playing Pittsburgh?
Yes, Penguins.
Is Jaromir Jagr still playing there?
He is still playing in the Czech League at 48 years old, believe it or not. He owns the team. Here, though. No.
We'll make sure to go check that out. All right, guys, still coming
No
up
pun
on
intended.
Game Changers. We're just going back to the football field. Some interesting comments that Tyreek Hill made last week. We'll see if he can back them up.
No one's getting sued, is he?
Welcome back into Game Changers. Mike Cunio, Kim Bokamper here in studio in Miami. Steve Goldie Goldstein in Pittsburgh, or some sort of hostage situation. We're not exactly sure. Open the window, Goldie. It's okay. Let some sun in.
Okay.
You can see. There you go.
Well, look at that.
City of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really see it. But
Is that one of those hotels where they keep the light on for you, Goldie?
There you go.
I'll keep the light on.
I can't disclose my location. I apologize.
There you go. Exactly. All right, guys. I want to talk about something Tyreek Hill mentioned this past week in the lead up to the Super Bowl. He said that this Dolphins team is out of excuses. Of course, 2 years ago, they go to the Super Bowl, or they go to the playoffs. They've got Skylar Thompson starting.
Yeah.
This year, the defense held their own for a little while against the Chiefs, even though they were banged up. Is he right? Is Tyreek Hill right that this Miami Dolphins team is now under the gun? They're going to feel a lot of pressure heading into year 3 of Mike McDaniel. Goldie, why don't you lead us off?
Well, I hope so. And I hope they got a few more guys on that team like Tyreek Hill that puts a little heat on, puts a little pressure on. And you go back and you look now, Tyreek had this amazing season. He's the spark plug of this team. He gets everybody going. And, you know, he's a real leader. And I don't know if all of us knew that when they got him. We knew he was a great player. So now it's up to Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa to step up, take that next step. Get this, guys, the last decade. Okay, 10 Super Bowls. 3 guys have won 8 of them. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, and Peyton Manning. Okay, they've won 8 of the 10 Super Bowls over the last decade. Tyreek does his job. It is now up to Tua to take the next step. What he took last year to this year was a great step. He takes another one. You need that impact quarterback. I think it's great that Tyreek is calling out everybody, including himself. He's throwing the whole offense in there. I like it.
Yeah, I think if it's coming from him, I'm 100% on that. He can say whatever he wants as far as I'm concerned. I've seen that guy play hurt numerous times, and the only reason he plays hurt is because he wants to help this football team win. There's a number of guys on that team that have kind of backed out of games when they probably could have played him, not Tyreek. And so if that's some of that spills over in the locker room, I'm all for it. But it is time now for the Dolphins. Look, you've been in the playoffs for the last 2 years. You're coming in on year 5 of Tua. You got all these guys. Everything's going together. Yeah. You can pick up a couple pieces, and if you could keep some guys, I think you walk into training camp, it would be maybe like the old days. If it was old days to me, it'd be, hey, our goal this year, if I'm Mike McDaniels, our goal this year, first and foremost, is to win the Super Bowl. Everything else comes second.
Yeah, I agree. And look, to your point about when Tyreek Hill says something, you listen. Yeah. Last year in the preseason, he told us about the offense, get your popcorn ready. Yep. It's going to be a big year. They had the number 1 offense, if not close to it. They had the number 1 passer and the number 1 wide receiver in terms of yards.
Yep.
It feels like when he's saying something, he's not being like read between the lines. He is being as direct as he can be and talking directly to the fans, saying, this is what you need to expect. Expect hopefully a pissed off Dolphins team the way that season ended, because look, everyone dealt with injuries down the stretch. Both the Niners and the Chiefs did. You can't. I mean, the Chiefs didn't even have one of their starting offensive linemen who was an All-Pro in that game.
You can't use injuries as an excuse. It's just in the league you can't, because you're right. Everybody falls into the same. Maybe the Dolphins had a little more in one position than the others, but still everybody's hurt by the end of the year, and it really is a matter of survival when you get to those last 2 or 3 games. The playoff games, in particular the Super Bowl, at least they get that 2-week break to heal up a little bit. So going in, everyone was healthy. But anyway, I'm getting out of the track here. But the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins also, let me tell you, the Dolphin organization in itself needs to figure out some way to keep guys a little more healthy as they move on down the year.
Yeah, I agree. Goldie, you got anything else to add to that?
I do want to say this. Anthony Weaver comes in. They've had some changes on that defensive staff. I am wondering if Weaver can kind of bring this whole thing together. Obviously he's a lot younger than Vic Fangio, been in a great system there in Baltimore. He was the run game coordinator. They had one of the best running defenses. maybe a little bit of that bite, a little bit of that nastiness, and a little bit of that grittiness in a positive way. Not saying that Vic did a bad job. The Dolphins defense did a lot of good things this year. But maybe in a better way, Anthony Weaver is a better fit on this coaching staff and can bring out a little bit more of that.
Nice to bring that Raven DNA too. You talk about nasty. That's a nasty team on both sides of the football, including special teams. So to get a little injection of that, I think that's going to help. It's going to be a nice boost for this team.
Goldie, we heard you singing Journey in the last block. You want to sing Dreamweaver on the way out? This one?
Dreamweaver.
There you go.
I believe you can get me through.
Wow.
I see it.
Let's go to break on that note. We'll be right back.
I pay money to hear that.
Man, that's getting posted on social media. Better believe that. All right, let's wrap things up here on Game Changers, guys. We saw something on social media this week that I just think we've lost the plot in the NFL. A Chicago radio station is holding a town hall to discuss their QB1 situation. Do you get Caleb Williams, Justin Fields? They're holding a town hall to discuss this QB situation.
Okay.
I know you two are both old radio guys. Bo, what do you think of this? Is this a little too far?
Well, no, they can go ahead and do it. But what do you think? The Bears management's going to come in there and take with it. They want. Oh yeah, we'll do this. You can do all you want. You can talk all you want. Let the professionals handle the job. That's all I'm going to say.
Goldie, 30 seconds.
I love it. I think it's a great idea, and maybe that's why the Bears are the Bears, because they do listen to the fans. That's a bad mistake by the franchise. Don't listen to us.
I think it'd be fun to be a fly on that wall, but if there's any exec.
Can you imagine the collection of misfits inside that room? Huh?
Yeah, no. Yeah, Goldie will probably be there. All right, thanks for joining us on Game Changers. We got to wrap it up. We'll see you next week. Goldie, thanks for joining us from God knows where.
Is my dick going to be in there?